afternoon, and thank you for those who are joining. I am Jag Sohal, and this is my final talk in the series, which is BCS Early Career Professional Series, Real IT Bites. And this talk is on my purpose shield, so my purpose journey. We're going into what these talks have been about. So a bit about me. I'm Jag Sohal, IT Business Relationship Manager for NFU Mutual. And these talks came about sort of 2020, and I did 5 of these talks last year, 3 this year, this being my final one on purpose. And they consist of career stories, so very little theory, more around real examples. So if you look at the previous talks, really in industry professionals talking about their experiences, lessons learned, and hopefully all good advice for people seeking an early career within IT and digital. They are aimed at anyone looking for a broader understanding of the variety of roles and entry paths into IT. So anyone of any age range, any background that would consider wishing to start their first step within the industry. And my purpose is just to encourage more, just to debunk any myths, any fears around what IT is really like. And myself and all my guest speakers are contactable at any point. So if you come across this recording, do contact us, do reach out to me or the BCS, and we're happy to help and advise you as well. And again, thank you to the BCS for taking on my idea for a series of 8 talks around early careers and being able to provide the infrastructure to promote, publicise and record them as well. So this talk is about purpose, and it's around what data out there supports purpose, what tools and techniques out there support purpose, and given the busy lives that we lead, how I feel like we can do some quite quick activities and exercises really to help you on your way to uncovering purpose. So what is the data and why are we talking about purpose? And what's the data that really supports us on that? So purpose and people. So it was no surprise to me, that the last 2 years and the challenges that we've had. And when we think about the Great Resignation, if you've heard of that, lots of people leaving their jobs and looking for a new chapter, really, new ways of wanting to work and wanting to be in a place of work. It connects us back to purpose. So it was no surprise really for me that a survey to come out only last month from PwC is organisations are realising how important it really is. Whether it's because of what's been happening in the last 2 years has sort of driven it to that, but making that connection between purpose, people and profitability eventually. If a company lacks purpose, it's likely they'll see, ongoing churn of attrition. Around 30% of people, likely to continue to leave because it's not aligned to any direction, or people don't believe in the authenticity of that organisation and their purpose and vision really as well. So when people want to know what their organisation is doing around, inequality, diversity, climate change, ESG is environmental, social and government. So it's really understanding how it all connects together, and it's just really refreshing to see, good timing really, that there's those data out there that supports this as well. So didn't really want to give you the dictionary definition of purpose. I actually wanted to give you one that comes from James Bowl. So I met James at an event in 2019, and he had a panel of speakers there to discuss their purpose and how it aligns to what they do. And so his description of purpose is an authentically lived aspiration that provides a call to action for an organisation and its stakeholders that advances something or someone external to the organisation. So, like I said, not your dictionary definition, but really makes you think around those 4 A's essentially. as well. So what is aspiration? What is there a hope of achieving? And he includes, maybe even unattainable, but what is it that, yourself at an individual level or that organisation, what are you aspiring to? Action as well. So will it then, yourself again as an individual, as teams, as departments, as organisation, act in a certain way, which will lead to advancement as well. So building that pathway really to what it is that you're aspiring to. And the key one as well is authenticity. So how often do we see a message come out? And we can apply this to our day-to-day. We can apply it to organisations that we shop at as well. So clothing brands, food brands, how authentic is their message and how real and how true to their message are they? If they're saying that they're a green organisation or they're striving for carbon neutral, do you really see it? Do you really feel it and believe it? And then again, if you're working in an organisation, are they promoting one view or one statement that's perhaps written on a wall, but you're there and you don't really sense it and feel it as well? So again, I think more and more people now, going back to the Great Resignation, are looking for alignment to what's important to them as individuals, and your place of work where you spend so much of your time, is it aligning somehow? And are the leaders actually leading on it as well and living on purpose? So for CEO, people who report to the CEO, your team, is there alignment there? So my first journey is based on the techniques that I have learned, which I'm going to give some examples of as well. Feel free to ask any questions at any point as well. Thank you. So my first one came around, this has been for me one that I've done for quite some time, and it started off years ago when people used to, quite commonly say, think about your brand, talk about your brand. People want to know, almost like goes back to elevator pitch as well. What's that quick statement that you would make that really can articulate what you're about and what you do? So really, making a statement is quite correct here. So I did this prior to being people leader. So I had my brand. I started to really think about that when I was a business analyst. And for me, it made me aware that I was really good at connecting with people, different stakeholders, but also technology as well. I was working with systems and interfaces and things. So my statement was making the connection, because connection meant people and technology to me. So I would talk about elevator pitch. That's one of the statements I would want to incorporate, and it made sense to me and I felt comfortable with it, and it kind of reiterated the fact of what I was there to do. I'm there to make the connection, hence I should be making those connections with stakeholders. I should be asking the right questions and then relaying that back in terms of what changes we make to interfaces. So it actually really sat really well with me. But then it was as a people leader really that I had to then coach others. I felt it was really important for me as a people leader to understand the individual and what they value most, because it comes to motivation. Again, comes back to the data. People don't feel joined up within their organisation, even at a one-to-one with their manager. Chances are that they will move on and they feel like they're not being seen or heard. Well, the only way they're going to be seen or heard is if I felt as the manager I made the forum open enough to ask the questions. And hence this is why the questions I'm posing here today for you now to consider is to understand what motivates you, or what would truly provide you with a sense of achievement. What's that feeling? What does it look and feel like, having that sense of achievement? And where would this come from? What do you value most? What's a deal breaker for you versus what you value? That's a good place to start as well. Comes back to your values as as an individual, how you live. So it could be that you don't want to work for somewhere that has reports of having animal testing going on, or animal cruelty, or things like that. So it will help you navigate into what direction you want to take, and then might align you to work in companies that are more ethical and are more sustainable. And how do we then understand it and then weave it into what we're trying to achieve as a team as well? So for me, it was a case of unlocking this, listening to it, and some individuals in my team hadn't had this conversation before, so really kind of warming them up to, this is what I want to get, and I'm only asking for a couple of words, a statement at this stage, just to understand a bit more about you as an individual as well. And we all created short purposeful statements and shared them. So got some examples here and ones for you to consider as well. So, briefly it was, well, I want to be known for being accountable. So even though you're my manager, I want to be out there and being seen as someone who's responsible and accountable, for the work that I do and the commitments that I make. How refreshing is that? So if I hadn't asked the question, I wouldn't have known that this individual in my team wants more responsibility, wants more, perhaps an objective that he or she are just going to lead with, and they want to be, have some accountability over the delivery of it. That was great to know and unlock, so that's a really, really interesting one. And an expert as well. So to know that in the vocation that they're doing, they will continue to research, look at best practice, and educate others on what the role is. Being an expert was great in my team, because we had some roadmap work to do, and it was nice to know that they had an expert to say that we were going to be on track. And like I said, a connector as well. But also, it doesn't prevent you from being creative and having a sort of superhero-esque twist to this as well. So like I said, making the connection was quite important to me, and I kind of abbreviated it later, just connecting the dots, because it went beyond people and technology for me. I was really starting to see that I had the capability of setting vision and setting strategic direction as well. So connecting the dots made more sense a few years sort of after making the connection. But again, it's just really short, few words, what resonates with you, what puts a smile on your face more than anything, and what you bring that's different as well. So do I know many developers who are developing and also thinking about ethical design, in the back of their mind? No. But if you joined an organization to say, yeah, I'm a developer, but I'm also researching and going to talks and learning about the importance of ethical design, or how we make software more accessible for people with any impairments and things like that. How refreshing is that? What a unique angle, you would bring to that team and the wider organization. And again, your manager then opening up opportunities for you to continue to explore that. Again, being the expert. So by being the expert, you're stating that I want access to resources, training, and a community that's going to allow me to be an expert in that field. I see with a friendly face, so nothing against people in finance, but that's one that I heard years ago, so I quite liked that one, just to say that I want to be someone who's people facing, and I don't want that assumption that because I work in IT finance, I'm just sort of in an office all day. I'm actually there to be engaging and do something different with the role potentially, so that was quite nice. So there's just some ideas there, again, really short statements. And the one training course that I went, because this has come up in training courses as well, on one training course, there was a guest speaker who was VP at Microsoft at the time, and I believe she's chief digital officer now. She mentioned, what is your dash? So that sounds quite morbid, but she actually meant on your gravestone, what's that dash between the day you're born and the day you see. What do you want to be known for, was her key message. That's quite compelling, really. what is it that you actually wanted to legacy that you'd want to leave behind? So that's where it can evolve to. So I'm not asking for that sort of straight away, but start to think about this journey now, and just start with a sentence somewhere, and prop it up and have a reminder to you. And the final point on that one is, again, as a people leader, I did weave these into objectives. So it was important for the people in my team that by understanding their purpose, we've managed to get some really successful outcomes that actually converted into success for our team, for IT. So it was great to then shout about that, because it was, you know, a real deeper, truer sense of achievement as well by working together that way. So this goes into another model that I came across in 2019. So as I said, I'm a business relationship manager, and I went to a conference, a virtual conference, where this was mentioned. And this is called a purpose shield. And it's based on the Japanese concept of reason for being. Another way you could describe it is the reason, you know, you wake up, and what gets you out of bed in the morning, you know, the reason for being. So this model, and the way I've used this again and implemented this as well, is a bit of a reflection piece. There's no set journey around the shield. You can sort of start wherever you want, but there are questions there that are there to sort of prompt a more, it is going in a level deeper in terms of your purpose as well. Hence I said start with the statement and then think more deeper on this sort of level, really. And those are sort of, you know, considerations that I would ask as well, to find a sort of deeper meaning in what is important to you. What would a good day look like again, and consider what qualities that you would admire in others that you feel align to you as well, just to help you with this. It'll go into sort of what, you know, what would make you lose track of time, I think is a really good way of describing it as well. And, you know, what we're asking here, what I'm asking here is nothing too specific. You know, I want to earn a certain amount by this time of year, my time in my career, or this is sort of house. It's not really more materialistic. These questions are more around you as a person as well. And that's why, you know, there's a lot of content out there around mood boards and vision boards, and spending significant amount of time, you know, putting things on a physical board, which is great, because that's probably a different way of doing it. But that, not only that, I think for me personally, in the busy life that I lead, that's quite time consuming. And if you're going to put sort of more, you know, materialistic type things on there, that's fine too. This isn't that. This is much more, again, sort of going into leading you into what career and what organization, and really starting to think about where you would want to see your sort of working life lead to. So that's one that I created. So that one's personal to me, and like I said, that can change as circumstances do change. So when I, you know, had a year maternity leave, you know, then my focus was on something completely different. My purpose changed, but ultimately this is still a reflection of you know, what I feel is important to me, and how I, again, you know, what the world needs, how I want to see the world, what are you good at? Isn't it great to just put a few lines in terms of what you can reflect on so far and put down what you're good at. What you can be paid for, again, you know, in a volunteering capacity, you know, you can convert that into sort of a non-paid statement as well. So this is my personal shield, and it can evolve, and you can put something more compelling, more, you know, a smarter objective if you wanted to. But a shield in a sense that if a situation arises, or if you find that you're being asked to sort of take on something that goes against your values, you know, it's a shield. It is genuinely a shield. It's sort of, no, that's actually, I've got something to stand by to say that this isn't something that I would want to go down, that track to go down, because it will take me against what makes me feel good. It goes back to what makes me feel good, what I feel I get a sense of achievement from. So share it. You know, if you do this, you know, this can take, you know, as little as 20 minutes, really. Just putting pen to paper, allowing your, you know, conscious mind to put something down 20 minutes is really powerful, because the reason this works for me, I believe, is that there's chambers in our brain which are in our subconscious, but by doing this, sending that message, it does trigger, you know, it triggers what you'll see in terms of job adverts. It will trigger in terms of what prompts you to make that call to speak to someone about career advice. There is, you know, I'm not not an expert on that really, but having done this, I do feel there is some sort of drive. The physical act of doing this does unlock activity, and actually prompted me, I would say, in doing these talks. You know, it was 2020, I was on maternity leave, and all 8 talks came to me within an hour, and got my phone out, wrote them down. It's because of some of the things here. I want to help others. You know, I want to exchange knowledge. I want to share my knowledge. I want to develop others as well. And it's about being kind and offering your time as well. So that, I don't think that would have actually happened, and actually prompted me to get to this point of publicising and arranging the talks. Had it not been, that's something that is definitely, you know, the same frequency with what my purpose is. So I think that's probably the best example I can give of doing this as well. There's also been 2 examples that I've seen this used as well. So I introduced this to the team that I work here at NFU Mutual. So that was in February 2020. And so we did one for a team, and that was fantastic, because if you imagine every bullet point is from a different team member, it was fantastic to see what matters to other people in the team as well. So, you know, I'd encourage you, if there's more of a group of you, to actually consider doing that as well. And I know it's been used outside of IT into making, you know, the one team, one dream type approach. Again, this model has been used before. Again, I'm happy to take any questions if anyone has any as well. So we will aim to get this model sent out along with the reminder of these talks as well, just to get you started. So one of my talks finally has a bit of homework for people, but I would definitely encourage you to spend 20, even to just challenge yourself to get it done in 20 minutes, work around the model, and going back to just your statement as well, perhaps just work on your statement, work on what's important to you, and then print these out and have them visible to you as well. I think that's really important too. So that's a list of all the other talks as well, and they are all available now on the BCS social media channels as well. So really key messages in those talks as well. And perhaps if you do look them back, you'll see the purpose in others, you'll see what motivates them, you know, what makes them feel a sense of achievement in what they do. And again, that connects us all back to what we feel like our purpose is. And then the final slide is ways to contact us as well. You can find me on LinkedIn, Jag Sohal, and groups at BCS UK is a great point to start as well. I'd also say becoming a member, there's a host of resources and channels available once you become a member too, including a brand new community board. So there's been a lot of interaction, a lot of questions, a lot of questions directed at me around seeking early career advice as well. So another great feature of becoming a member of the BCS. So if there are any questions, I'm going to close the call today, but thank you for those who have joined. Thank you all for your time.